Let me grab the tissue.
Okay, another Saturday night. We're getting a look at the back of, well, there his head was. And of course, Catherine does not like to show her face. So we just have that little picture. So we are starting for another Tuesday night. This is the last Tuesday night of June of 2022. Next thing you know, we're going to be into July of 2022. Time goes forward, whether you like it or not. You can't stop it, and that's why Kevin keeps looking older and older. You'll see the gray hair coming out of his head. So anyway, he is going to. We're going to talk about conspiracies. Everything from 9/11 was an inside job to there is even a conspiracy that involves one of Alabama's favorite authors. Are you familiar with that conspiracy?
Yeah, you talking about Harper Lee?
The one that wrote The Mockingbird?
Yeah.
Do you know what that conspiracy was?
I probably forgot it, but that's
all right. I don't want you to tell them yet anyway.
No, I'm not going to.
So there's all kind of conspiracies. In fact, I'm going to even bring in South Park.
South Park.
They gave a lot of predictions. There's something going on there.
I got one about the Titanic.
Oh God! I mean, there's all kind of stuff. Just not just South Park. Let's see who else was the other one there? Too?
Simpsons. The Simpsons.
The Simpsons even predicted that Trump would become president. Well, how did they know this? What's going on there? This is weird stuff. It's not just the JFK thing. Of course, even Tupoc. When Tupac got killed, Tupac, and whatever.
And don't forget the Mandela conspiracy theory.
Effect, okay. So until then, Kevin got another doll as if he needed another doll. He's like, he's filling that property up, so he's already shopping for another ranch.
Oh, I'm not shopping for another ranch.
Are you gonna build out that barn out there so you can store all your dolls in it? So anyway,
climate controlled.
So who we're going to talk to tonight on the EVPs? And that last, I got to tell you, I've never bought a app for ghost hunting, but because of the last one you bought, enticed me to buy that one.
The Ghost Tube.
Yeah, so I'm now the proud owner of that as well, and I was very impressed with what you posted about that. Are you still liking it as much as you did then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna use it tonight.
Well, I'm going to remove myself and turn it over to you. And you got a crib, the coffin crib, and you've got a doll that you just got in, yesterday or today?
Yeah, yesterday. And the crib is returning because we were going to try a little experiment with that.
See if the tissue moves in the bed.
Okay.
All right, so it's all on you. Everybody's watching you, Kevin. Everybody's watching you.
Everybody's watching me.
I'm going to mute myself so that I can watch and hear at the same time.
Okay.
I'm just going to mute myself so I can come back in and tell you what I hear, so I'm not typing it.
Okay.
I'm going to leave Catherine up there so she can interject when she hears something.
Okay. All right then. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try out that Ghost Tube. Ghost Tube is on Google app, and you can find that pretty much just look up Ghost Tube, and it's real easy. I think, I forgot now. There's a one-time charge. I think it was $3, $4, something like that. But it's definitely worth the money. I first noticed it when we had there was a YouTube channel out there that used it. It's a very prominent YouTube channel. I think it's one of them, Amy's Crypt, or one of them used it. And I like the way you can do video at the same time with it. Or you can just use it like I'm going to do in a second with the spirit box as just a spirit box without the video. So we're going to do that in a minute. And I'm just finishing up sharing this on the Haunted Doll group so they can tune in. And now I'm going to bring this around and show y'all the new girl here. I do not have a name for her, but boy, she's a little cutie. Here, let me back up a little. She's a tiny little cutie. Look how little she is. And behind her is the crib that you saw last week. Now, this little girl here, this little doll, and I feel like there is somebody with her because when I pulled her out of the box, I felt like she was staring a hole through me yesterday, and she was in shock from her little trip in that box. So, Tammy, who had her in Georgia, told me that this little doll, it's a musical doll, there's a wind up back there, but she has been known to play her music on her own without being wound up, just the music just starts playing. And sometimes the doll moves, it moves positions. So I have explained to her prior to the start of the show, before I came on and joined, I explained to her these toys, the cat ball, and I call this guy the goofy head back here, so she'll know it's not scary. This REM pod with the antenna, and then the bell back here. So she might could play with those. And just in case she wants to participate, I want to show off this huge, gigantic Raggedy Ann doll that came with the little girl yesterday. Look at that big old Annabelle size Raggedy Ann doll back there. So who knows? Maybe she's spirited too. All right, so let's get started here. Now that I've explained everything, and I'm going to show the app here as I'm pulling it up. Of course, it's on a little selfie mode, but it is Ghost Tube, and this is what it looks like. And I need to turn it up. There's no static. It just pulls voices from online, like radio shows and things. It sweeps just like a spirit box, but you hear really clear words, and it's really amazing. So make sure everything's up here. All right, so I hope we'll hear something here. Now it's quiet now, but any minute we might get a voice. And there you go. That sounds like somebody said before. All right. Hello. Uh-oh. Hello, my name's Kevin. And I know I introduced myself last night, but I would love to know if I think there's a little spirit with this doll. Is there a spirit with this doll? I didn't quite make out what that was. The patient of... I didn't quite make that out either. If there's a little girl with this doll, please say hello. Financial thing, okay. That sounds like a piece of a commercial. And we got these toys I showed you.
My name is not financial. My name is.
My name is? Okay. What is your name? Say your name for me. Uh-oh. Matty Cat is at large here. All right.
Important.
I thought that said
At large here.
he recorded it.
There. Sorry, I was getting the cat down. So... Now that was definitely a girl's voice there. I'd love to know more about you. Where are you from?
She asked why.
I just would love to know more about you. And I thought I heard, did I hear Mississippi right before you came on, Captain?
I was muted.
Oh. I'm juggling my phone in my hand there, trying to get it around where I'm glad y'all can hear it. That's a good thing. I wasn't sure if the volume's all the way up, but the app itself doesn't. Well, it does have a volume control. No, it's just mute.
Being featured in Stranger Things on Netflix, the Hellfire Club has recently stepped.
That's weird. YouTube popped up.
In your hallway. Look in your hallway.
What's in my hallway?
There's a little girl standing right there in your hallway. You see right behind the it looks like electrical outlet right there.
Yeah. I don't see it.
See the hat? It's kind of moving around where the hat is. It's about as tall as that hat.
Zoom in a little bit here. I mean, I think I see something there on camera. Definitely not when I look over there, with the naked eye, but on the camera, it does look.
It's very, very light, but it's definitely something there.
Is that you standing near the door there? Oh, I got the ghost. Well, I heard something. Was that you? Oh, there was a laugh, and then somebody else said something. Wow. Do we have the spirits with this crib? Is that who is talking to us as well?
Is the napkin in the crib?
No, I put it over here. Let me try that. I got 2 pieces here. Should I just lay this in there?
Crumple it up real good.
2 pieces here. Should I just put kind of like that? Pieces here.
Yeah, just so you can tell if any little piece, because a little piece may be lighter or something.
Kind of like that?
Yeah.
Pieces here. Okay. It's a lot of talking there.
System 2.
Love to see the bait. Oh,
It's them too.
I just saw, right before you spoke, I just saw the tissue move. Just a little bit.
Wet.
Can you play with the tissue? Oh.
I would love to.
Play with the tissue. Did you see it? That this end of it here moved twice. It's kind of here moved twice.
Who's here? Who's with us tonight?
Martha? Martha is in my mother.
Is that tissue moving again?
Oh, I wasn't looking. I was taken aback by it saying my mom's name. Elena. Now, I heard Elena clearly.
Not buying that.
I do have a little spirit named Elena in there in my bedroom with her dog, but she might be in here. There is something weird over there. It's near the door. Are you still standing over there? Yeah. A ton. Yeah. Is the baby playing with the tissue?
I swear the baby just burped.
Yeah, I heard that noise. I was hoping that tissue would move again. I mean, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I've seen it with my own eyes jiggle just a slight hair. Oh, that was a little child's voice. Is that the little girl with the doll? I think Catherine was hearing the name Melanie last night. Is your name Melanie?
Look at that.
Likely that.
Melanie, can you see the baby in the crib? Whoa. That was loud. That was loud.
Sounded like positively.
Oh, wow.
65.
65? Is that what that just said? 60 something? Whoa.
65.
Now, what is 65?
I could not understand you. What did you say about 65?
Whoa, I think I just saw the tissue move again.
Oh, yes, it just moved. I watched it on the live and on the and saw the repeat on the video right there.
Oh, yes. That's so sweet, little baby. I guess that's your new baby sister laying in that crib. Yeah, there it is. Jiggling a little.
You don't have any overhead vents in the room blowing AC or anything?
Up here's up an old speaker, right up that round speaker. It don't work. There's no vent over here. I think there's one behind me back there that's it's not doing anything over here. I can't even feel it on me. Is there anything you'd like to say to us? The ghost tube got quiet.
I'm on.
And if there's any spirit, if there is a little girl, and if your name is Melanie with this doll, I'd love to see you play with the toy. You can tap the ball like that. Uh-oh. Let's get it where you can do it. Oh, there we go. So you just tap it, touch it like that. Or you got Mr. Silly Head here. Make his eyes wink, his eye wink there. Or that bell back there. I don't know if this is of any significance, but my cat's been laying here for the last 10 minutes staring that way at an empty corner. Oh, now she's getting up since I spoke. But she'd been staring over there like somebody was over there for about 10 minutes. Let's see, back to the crib. Any movement on that tissue? I wondered if maybe the little baby spirit kicking is what's doing that, or it's just moving around underneath. The ghost tube has gotten quiet. Is anybody still here?
I think we got a little bit too excited, Kevin, because they were doing so much.
Yeah.
I think we got a little bit too excited. Hold on, let me mute this one. Give them just a second to rest and
Okay.
try again. I'm connecting more on a physical level tonight with them than I am a mental with them.
Yeah.
But that's what they told me last week. The pillow is nice.
Yeah, the lady who sent this to me included that as a little gift, a little decoration. She didn't say anything about this, having any. She didn't say anything about any creepy experiences. I was just looking at things online and found this and said, "Oh, I like that," because I like little antique doodads sometimes.
Is it got a rocker on the bottom?
Yeah. It rocks.
Try rocking it for a second. I know the tissue's going to move that, but try rocking the baby. See if we can get more out of the baby in a minute.
Let's see. My apologies to Melanie. I know that's kind of
I know you only, I think they understand that you only have one hand.
I don't think I'm going to scare everybody off by singing a lullaby here, but
Yeah, he wouldn't want me to sing. It would be kind of horrible.
I'm making her fall.
All right, that should be enough. She's getting uncomfortable. She's saying that's enough.
Okay.
Now let's just give it a minute, make sure everything settles down and nothing's moving, and we'll ask a couple of questions and maybe ask the baby if it likes to be sung to. I'm going to mute and I'm going to listen, and you go ahead with some more questions.
Okay. Do you like to be sung to, baby? If there are any spirits here, let me know. Does the baby like to be sung to?
Kevin, I really think we wore them out.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Well, it's going on 7:30 anyway, so I'll go ahead and say that I appreciate y'all speaking to us and the little baby moving the tissue and whoever showed up, little Melanie. And we'll go ahead and I'm going to count down. I'm going to turn this box off. So if there are any spirits that don't belong, be sure to go back to where you came from, and all spirits back away. I'm going to count down from 5 and turn this off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Goodbye.
It's a conspiracy. That's why they didn't talk very long, because you conspired against them.
Conspired against them. I didn't do anything against them. I think that was some awesome activity.
Scared them. You scared them with a tissue in the crib.
That's just your conspiracy theory.
I'm telling you, that was one of the best ones we've done, Kevin.
I know.
I was trying to catch it where, when it came through your thing and play it back with where it comes through the actual, because I get to hear it live, and then I can play it back through this to. So I was trying to echo it a little bit so you could hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could hear it on there.
So you still like that one better than the necrophonic thing?
So far, the last couple of times I've used the ball that's gone off now.
What?
The cat ball just went off.
Mm-hmm. It does. Thank you for releasing me.
It's going off again.
Are you kidding? It is. Look at it.
Hit the skull. Hit the skull. The skull's scary, but hit the skull. It's not going to hurt you.
Make it go off.
I think they're scared of the skull, Kevin.
Yeah, I've been wondering that. I've had a feeling about that here. Let's move.
Are you kidding? They are ghosts. Ghosts are not scared of
children.
Skeletons.
The majority of them are children.
Even children, ghosts are not scared.
Now, you want to play with the ball some more?
If they were scared, they'd be scared of Kevin.
We got that old skull out of the way. Look at there. Man.
Yeah. See, we get the camera on it, and it stops.
Yeah.
But when you first turned the camera over there, it was flashing like mad.
Yeah, it flashed twice back to back, and I did not touch it. I didn't bump it. The cat's down here on the floor, looking up here and wondering what the heck's on this table.
What the heck is on that table there?
Uh-huh.
Well, we're going to move on to conspiracy theories. And since I teased everybody about our local author and the conspiracy around her book, To Kill a Mockingbird. And now I got to find my window. I got too many windows open here. Do, 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 do. All right, there we go. So, well, let me just do a countdown if you would like. We can run down through there. Of course, everybody is familiar with the JFK assassination. That is, in my lifetime, been one of the more popular um, conspiracy theories. The magic bullet. Are you guys familiar with that one?
The magic bullet.
You never paid attention to the Kennedy assassination conspiracy theories?
Well, yeah, I've heard those. I didn't hear the magic bullet before.
Well, that's the way the bullet supposedly entered in through Kennedy and kind of moved around in a strange behavior to hit the government. They called it the magic bullet. On November the 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas, when he was struck by 2 bullets. He died at 46 years of age. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for the assassination of the president, and 2 days later, Oswald was killed on live television. The Warren Commission was then created to investigate the incident and concluded that Oswald acted alone. However, some believe there is more to the story. There are theories that the CIA hired Oswald because of the president's reactions to communism and the Bay of Pigs invasion. Others believe the mafia, Cuba, or the Soviet Union were involved in the assassination. When videos of the incident were released, people claimed Oswald's location made it impossible for him to have killed the president. And most recently, a scientist at IMSG concluded Oswald did assassinate JFK. But just because one scientist concluded that does not stop the conspiracy theories from going forward. I don't know what Kevin has come up with. I don't know if Catherine's come up with anything either. But
yeah.
Kevin, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. Am I muted? No, I'm still okay. Yes, I have something here. I was about to upload an image to kind of go with it here.
Or do you remember what the Bible says about images now?
Oh, I'm not putting up any graven images.
I'm sorry. Okay, I misunderstood.
The ball's going off next to me.
That's having a ball. What can I say?
Yeah. I wish we had a separate camera to keep on that and y'all can see it going off.
Yeah.
It's going off again. Boy, she is playing with it now. Now that the camera's off of her.
What conspiracy theory you got there, Cat Ball Kevin? Got a new nickname for Kevin. We're going to call him Cat Ball. Kevin?
I'm just mesmerized by this ball going off.
It's
continuously going off.
There's a sunken freaking ship. What are you talking about?
This ball just keeps going off next to me.
Well, I don't see it.
Well, my conspiracy.
I see. Think you're making it up.
My conspiracy story is about the Titanic, and that is the Great Dame laying down there at the bottom of the ocean floor.
Titanic?
And where'd you go? There it is, Titanic and the iceberg conspiracy. So, conspiracy. So, and by the way, it's 2022. It's the 110th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. So as people around the
remember it well.
Yeah. As people around the world prepare to mark the 110th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic, a new play is exploring some of the conspiracy theories that circulated at the time of the disaster. Ghosts of the Titanic at the Lyric Theater focuses on a bereaved woman who gets sucked into a maelstrom of questions. It illustrates a 1912 take on what has more recently become known as fake news. Mark Twain, in exactly the same year as the Titanic, said a lie can be halfway around the world before the truth has its boots on, and that absolutely seems to be what happened in this era with the Titanic, says actor John Hopkins, who plays New York newspaper reporter Malloy. The play's protagonist is Emma, played by Genevieve Gaunt. The character's fiancé died in the disaster. Emma navigates her way through competing narratives about the ship's engineering credentials, its insurability, the high-profile passengers who never boarded, and ultimately questions over whether it even struck an iceberg. When you look at the totality of the facts, the conspiracy theory that can be woven from that maybe is a fiction, but each of these details is very strong. And if someone is driven by grief like my character is, it becomes a very sinister word, said Genevieve. A little bit like any great play, it shows you that everything has changed. I mean, 1912 could not be more different to 2022, but yet the fundamentals of the best of human nature and the worst of human nature haven't really changed. Farrell McElaren plays East Belfast shipyard worker McBride, who claims to have had doubts on the strength of Titanic's structure. Fergal says the conspiracy theory theme resonates with everyday life now. The play really looks into how that's not necessarily a new thing, because what it's born of is people either covering their tracks or not being able to come to terms with a tragedy and needing better answers. The play runs at the Lyric until Saturday, April 16th. So this article was published back in April. But there's a big conspiracy theory that the Titanic never struck an iceberg. So what in the world they think caused the sinking of the Titanic? This article didn't go any further, but I think I have something else up here to explore this. Here we go. Late in the evening on April 14, 1912, the RMS Titanic hit an iceberg and sank into the icy waters of the North Atlantic, killing 1,517 of the 2,223 passengers and crew members aboard. To make sense of this tragic and seemingly random disaster, people over the past century have told stories of ominous signs of bad luck that were supposedly ignored beforehand, or spun elaborate conspiracy theories to explain the real reason it sank. Here we explain the most enduring conspiracy theories and myths about the tragedy. So here's one theory. J.P. Morgan planned the disaster to kill his rivals. According to this theory, millionaire banker J.P. Morgan planned the Titanic disaster to kill off rival millionaires Jacob Astor, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim, who all perished aboard. The theory hinges on the fact that Morgan had originally planned to sail on the Titanic, but changed his mind shortly before it took off. Yet it doesn't offer any explanation for how he caused the ship to hit an iceberg and kill over 1,500 people, let alone the 3 men he supposedly intended to die. To top it off, the theory claims Morgan wanted to kill them because they opposed the creation of the Federal Reserve, even though Astor and Guggenheim don't appear to have taken a position on it, and Strauss actually supported it. Alternative versions of this theory claim that the Rothschild banking family, or the Jesuits, were the ones who arranged Astor, Strauss, and Guggenheim's deaths on the Titanic. As the Washington Post notes, invoking the Rothschilds as international conspirators is a centuries-old anti-Semitic trope. The Rothschild family founded banking houses across Europe in the early 1800s, and they have been a favorite target of conspiracy theorists ever since. This theory resurfaced recently in connection with QAnon, a far-right conspiracy theory detailing a supposed secret plot by an alleged deep state against Donald Trump and his supporters. Now here's theory number 2. The Titanic never sank. People seem to love a good insurance fraud story. So maybe it's unsurprising that this conspiracy theory is one of the Titanic's most popular. This one poses that someone switched the Titanic with another White Star Line ship called the RMS Olympic. But as Paul Burns, vice president and curator of the Titanic Museum attractions in Missouri and Tennessee, points out, it just does not make any sense. This theory starts with the fact that the Olympic was damaged while sailing from Southampton, England, to New York in September 1911 and had to return to Harland and Wolff Shipping Yard in Belfast for repairs. The company repaired the Olympic and it sailed to New York and back. It returned to Belfast for more repairs in March 1912, a few weeks before the Titanic set sail. The conspiracy theory claims that some person or people found the Olympic too severely damaged to be profitable, and so at some point switched it with the Titanic to purposefully ditch the damaged ship, reap the insurance money, and, it seems, kill a bunch of people in the process. There are a lot of holes in this theory, but one of the biggest is that the Titanic's insurance was not enough to cover the Olympics' loss. And then here's a good one. A mummy's curse doomed the Titanic. One of the passengers who went down with the Titanic was William Stead, a British editor who subscribed to early 20th century spiritualism and had spent the past several years claiming a cursed mummy was causing mysterious destruction and disaster in London. As with other myths about Egyptian curses and Native American burial grounds, this myth played off of colonialists' anxiety about the people whose land they had plundered. On board the Titanic, Stead happily repeated his tale of the mummy's curse to other passengers. After the ship sank, a survivor recounted Stead's story in the New York World, and the media picked it up. The next month, the Washington Post ran this headline, quote, "Ghost of the Titanic, vengeance of hoodoo mummy followed man who wrote its history," unquote. Burns says some people link the mummy's curse to Egyptian artifacts that survivor Margaret Brown really did take with her on the Titanic to deliver to a museum in Denver. In other versions of the story, the mummy was actually aboard the Titanic because the British Museum had sold it to an American who was shipping it home. But the truth is the so-called unlucky mummy is still at the British Museum, and no mummy was ever loaded onto the ship. It was an iceberg, not a curse, that sank the Titanic. Okay, and now here's another one. The ship's number read "No Pope" backwards. One myth poses that Catholic employees of Harland and Wolff, the Belfast company that built the Titanic, were distressed that the ship's number, 390904, seemed to say "No Pope" when viewed in a mirror. I've never noticed that before. Was this a sign of bad luck that foretold the ship's doom? No. The late Titanic historian Walter Lord wrote that he received letters from people in Ireland relaying this "No Pope" story beginning in the mid-50s. Yet, as Burns pointed out in his 1986 book, The Night Lives On, there was no such number attached to the Titanic. Well, that's why I never noticed it. The whole number painted on the ship was 401, same as its yard number at Harland and Wolff, and its Board of Trade number was 131428. And even if one of its numbers had read "No Pope," there weren't any Catholic workers at Harland and Wolff for it to upset. The company had driven its Catholic employees away in the late 1800s, and by the 20th century, Harland and Wolff had a reputation for employing Protestants. So, Jack Dawson is Jay Gatsby. Now, if you don't remember Jack Dawson, that's who Leo DiCaprio played in the movie Titanic. This one is actually about the 97 Titanic movie, and it's a fan theory. But still, there is a theory on the internet that Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Titanic and his character in The Great Gatsby are the same person. The movie is obviously an alternate timeline where he survived the sinking of the ship and went on to build a life for himself in America in an attempt to reunite with Rose, says Chris Loff of Tor.com, a science fiction and fantasy site that he runs. So Jack survives, builds himself into a party-going showman in the jazz age and hopes that Rose will one day appear, but ends up finding love with another woman, Daisy. Because this one is about fictional characters in film, it's not something we can prove or disprove. We'll just leave it up to you to decide if Jack really is the Great Gatsby. That's a little cute theory there. So that's it for the Titanic Theorize.
Well, I've got one here I want to share that came from Miss Catherine, so bear with me for a moment.
Okay. And Miss Catherine, she didn't poke herself in the eye again, did she?
Yes.
No, I can't share. I can't share my screen because I didn't log in.
Oh, okay.
Because it definitely was a documentary on how this planet actually used to be and the people. In this land, they found so many new organisms, beings, trees, all types of advanced psychological things happening on this planet. Mainly because they wanted to colonize and obtain resources that would make them rich. Sound familiar? In the movie, there were these beings called the Navi people. Their bodies were so advanced and connected to the earth, and they seemed to have dressed to African clothing. Now, the Navi people were very, very tall, and so was nature. All the trees, everything was literally lit. There's the same thing about giants on Earth, 8 to 10 feet people living and walking around in the past, taller than the regular humans. Because who's these steps for? I'm not just making this up. Also in the movie, there were big, tall, giant trees. You know, on Earth, the mountains that look like they cut off trees. Now, in this movie, they was willing to do whatever, knocking down sacred trees, doing all types of things that hurt the planet and the Earth and everything that was connected to it. Sound familiar? Now, all around the planet, there are these tall people on the walls, and they call them gods and giants and all types of things. What if all of these advanced beings who are called gods in different religions were just highly advanced beings in the past? And in the past, these people who are seeing them call them gods. I mean, who knows what our DNA is capable of? So these humans want what these highly intelligent beings have. So they invaded and took advantage of the peace that we had, aka Native Americans, Africans, Egyptians, all that. Same thing that they did to the Navi people in the movie. So much bad, sad, negative things happening on this planet to where it can't even be its full potential because it's trying to clean itself up. Prime example, while we're alive, we take so much resources from the earth. And then when we die, we put ourselves in coffins, unaccess to the earth or the soil. In the movie Avatar, they literally bury their bodies to give back to the earth, but we don't even do that. Let's really try to understand what this movie meant and what we're capable of. Always stay dangerous. I want y'all to know how this earth used to be and how it's going to be pretty soon. Yeah, we're doing it, exposing Avatar, because it definitely was a documentary on how this planet actually used to be.
I believe that summed it up. Catherine, you want to enlighten us?
Yes. Think about this. Some of us have tailbones. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Some of us grow a lot taller than others.
Yeah. There's no doubt that you and Kevin came from, these primates that had hair all over your body. I mean.
Oh well. But think about it. We're taking.
I'm more advanced because just to fit in, I've got to wear fake hair. I don't have all that hair.
He crawled out the ocean.
I'm more advanced than you hairy ones. No comment out here.
How does he know how hairy we are?
I don't know. He's
I've heard stories.
Yeah.
Only
Well,
because I wear the Bigfoot suit.
Let's move on. Anybody ever heard of? I know you hadn't heard of Area 51. Have you heard of Area 51?
Oh, gee, I don't know if I heard that place
Well,
before.
I don't know either, but the famous Area 51 in the Nevada desert is a military installation at the Nellis Military Operations Area. But the base quickly became known as the most secretive military site in the world because it does not exist on any map or government website, which of course would lead many to craft conspiracy theories. Some believe that Area 51's researching and experimenting on aliens and their spacecraft. We couldn't say aircraft because in space there's no air, so we'd have to say spacecraft. More specifically, people think they are studying a crash that happened near Roswell, New Mexico. Anybody ever heard of Roswell? In 1940. Others theorize that the moon landing was staged at Area 51. Did you know we never went to the moon? Any comments on that? The government has said the facility is used to test experimental aircraft for the military. Which, I mean, if it's experimental, they're doing that reverse engineering on these alien spaceships that we've captured from, yeah, okay. I guess you get all that, right? Hello? Hello? Hello. Now, in recent times, we have another group that has come up, and I assume you've heard of this, QAnon.
QAnon, yeah. I mentioned that earlier.
Conspiracy theory that a group of Democrats and elites are attempting to undermine Donald Trump's presidency. QAnon is a baseless far-right conspiracy theory that claims President Donald Trump is secretly fighting a deep state cabal of satanic pedophiles and cannibals. Cannibals, Kevin?
Cannibals?
Did you hear that? Cannibals?
They're eating
cannibals.
The conspiracy theory dates back to 2017 when a supposed high-level government official posted details of the inner workings of the government on the anonymous message board 4chan. The person identified themselves simply as Q. From there, far-right group of people known as QAnon was born. While QAnon started as a niche online forum, it has turned into a mainstream belief system for some conservatives. However, the claims within the conspiracy theories are not supported by evidence. I'm going to just leave that one lay right there and let Kevin go forward if he's got anything else he'd like to share with us.
I do. My next one involves a very former high-profile figure. Really, she kind of still is, even in death. That is that beautiful lady, Princess Di, and the conspiracy.
That's interesting. So, Di is dead.
Di is dead.
Okay, all right. That's a conspiracy itself. Her name predicted her death.
Yeah.
It's like, die. And she said, okay. She dropped it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some say she herself predicted her death. We got some
conspiracy. I would
say
with a name like that, how could you not predict her death? Your name is Di? Yeah, I'm going to die. Okay.
So the conspiracy theory question that most conspiracy theorists ask is, was the tragic car accident really an accident?
No, far from it. I remember exactly where I was when that happened.
I remember where I was too.
And I can tell you right now, I knew immediately that this was a setup. The Queen of England did not like this girl.
Yes.
She was a rebel with a cause.
Here's what we know. On August 31st, 1997.
Don't say we, because you don't know shit.
Oh, I'm just reading from the article.
You're saying we.
Mr. Don't know shit.
I didn't. I know.
Okay. How about this? Here's what this writer of this article thinks they know. On August 31st, 1997, a car crashed in the Alma Tunnel in Paris. The driver was speeding and had high levels of alcohol in his system. Princess Diana was proclaimed dead less than 4 hours later. Her partner and the driver did not survive either. Then Princess Di's funeral was held on September 6, 1997. It sounds like Princess Di's death was a result of a cut-and-dry drunk driving accident, but some people, notably the father of Diana's boyfriend, who died in the crash with her, have questioned whether it really was an accident. Enough conspiracy theories started circulating that London's Metropolitan Police did a full investigation into the claims and published their findings in Operation Paget. This is the truth behind the rumors and Princess Di conspiracy theories. So, first one up is about Charles. Could Charles not remarry if Diana was still alive? Could that be why? Prince Charles could have married Camilla Parker Bowles if Princess Diana was still alive. However, a note Diana wrote, seeming to have an eerie premonition about her own demise, could have helped fuel this conspiracy theory. After separating from Prince Charles, she sent a note to her butler with a disconcertingly accurate prediction, quote, "I am sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. Someone is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry." End quote. Now, that's creepy. That's where some media end her frightened words, but she does go on to say he wants to marry a woman named Tiggy and that Camilla is nothing but a decoy, which does not match up with the fact that Charles did end up with marrying Camilla Parker Bowles. The butler also said the media had taken too much stock on the note, which had seemed to be a passing thought for Princess Di when she was feeling anxiety. Next theory. Did the royal family not approve of her then boyfriend? I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I think it's Dodi Fayed. Diana's boyfriend and the son of an Egyptian billionaire was also a victim of that car crash. Rumors, mostly from Fayed's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, were circulating that Diana was pregnant with Fayed's baby and that the couple planned to get engaged soon. Some claimed the royal family did not want the mother of an heir to the throne, Prince William, to be married to a Muslim. Operation Paget found that Dodi Fayed had not bought an engagement ring as some had claimed, or that Diana was expecting a proposal. What's more, blood tests indicated that Diana was not pregnant at the time of her death. The next one. Did French doctors hide Diana's pregnancy? Well, here we go with pregnancy again. This is one of the most debated Princess Di conspiracy theories. Some people just were not convinced by the negative pregnancy tests. Doctors had started the embalming process surprisingly quickly, which would have made a urine pregnancy test out of the question or created an excuse to claim it was a false positive. The thing is, the timing of the embalming was nothing out of the ordinary. Diana's injuries were consistent with the cause of death, so doctors did not see any reason to delay. Plus, it is not standard to give deceased women pregnancy tests, so the fact they hadn't taken a urine sample was nothing unusual. So, here's the next one. Was Diana's driver really an informant for the Secret Service? Former MI6 officer Richard Tomlinson spread a rumor that he'd seen intelligence files for an assassination of a foreign politician in Paris that had an eerie similarity to Diana's deadly crash, leading to rumors that the driver, Henry Paul, was in on the scheme and was feeding information to MI6. But Tomlinson also happened to have been let go from the MI6 for leaking secrets and was famous for trying to ruin the organization's reputation. He also never used Paul's name in connection to the accident. And then the next theory. Did the Secret Service lead Diana's car to the tunnel and then blind the driver? So this ties in with the other one. Diana's driver followed the usual route most of the way from the Ritz Hotel to her boyfriend's apartment, but took a strange diversion past one expected turn. Some people suspect the entrance to the slip road most drivers would have taken was purposely blocked by MI6, forcing Paul to head to a tunnel instead. When the car arrived, a bright light suddenly flashed, blinding the driver so he would swerve and crash, and another vehicle fled the scene. But later investigations found that Diana's car would have been driving too fast to go down that first slip road regardless, so it's unlikely the driver suddenly had to choose another path. The rest of the eyewitness accounts did not conclude with which other vehicles were at the scene. Some people claimed they saw one motorcycle, others saw 6. Some people saw a black car race away, others remembered a white one. In any case, a car driving by an accident without stopping is not enough to warrant claims of foul play. All right, here's the next one. Was the U.S. government watching Princess Diana? As if rumors about MI6's involvement in the tragedy were not enough, conspiracy theorists also like to add that the American government had a hand in her death. The story is that the CIA and National Security Agency were tracking Diana's calls and had 39 documents related to the princess. In fact, the CIA admitted it did have 1,054 pages worth of information about her, but it also said none of those documents were related to the crash. The NSA had intercepted one of Diana's calls, but that call happened to be to the Brazilian ambassador's wife, who was the more likely target. Other references to her name seem to have been in normal conversation. You will not want to miss the secret changes to Diana's will that were made against her wishes. I think that's leading to another article. But here's the next one. Was the driver not actually drunk? Official reports say that Paul crashed because he was drunk behind the wheel, but some claim that was just a decoy. The samples used in forensic tests, theorists claim, actually belonged to a suicide victim and were used to frame Paul. But toxicologists tested 4 different samples and all suggested that Paul's blood alcohol levels were 3 times the legal limit in France, and there was nothing to suggest that the samples did not come from Paul's body. All right, and here's the next theory. Was Diana not given the medical treatment that could have saved her? This is another one of the most debated Princess Diana conspiracy theories. The ambulance carrying Di, who was still alive at the time, passed one hospital without stopping on its way to another hospital farther away from the scene of the crash. Critics claimed that seemed fishy, especially because she'd been kept at the scene for so long. While treating her own location before getting to the hospital is admittedly different than Brits or Americans might expect, it was common practice in Paris. French paramedics would treat victims as much as they could before moving them, rather than getting to the hospital ASAP. As for the first hospital the ambulance passed, it was not equipped to deal with Diana's injuries. Even taking the shoulda, woulda, coulda into account, nothing could have been done to save Diana. And number 10, we're about to get to the end here. Did the bodyguard know there was a plan to kill Diana? Diana, her partner, and the driver might all have died in the crash, but there was one survivor, Trevor Reese Jones, bodyguard to Dodi Fayed. Fayed's father claimed that Reese Jones knew the crash was premeditated and did nothing to stop it. He supposedly even agreed to cover up details after the fact because the Secret Service threatened to kill him if he revealed their plot. Reese Jones did receive some threatening calls and letters after the tragedy, but he reported them to the police and did not seem particularly concerned. He still stands by his account. And number 11, the one that I heard at the time, not long after. Did the paparazzi purposely set up unsafe conditions? The deadly accident happened while paparazzi were chasing Diana, which has led to some rumors that the photographers were in on a morbid scheme, hoping the chase would end in a crash. Diana had won a restraining order against one photographer a year before the crash because she claimed he'd crashed into her car during photo op chases and was using tactics that were calculated to cause harm. Operation Paget did find that the escape from flashing cameras played into the fact that Diana's drunk driver was speeding, but it found no ill intentions on the photographer's parts. And that is the end of the Diana conspiracy theory. So, what do you think? Do you think Diana's death was not an accident? Was it premeditated murder? Did the royal family have a hand in it? We'll probably really never know. I think it's just what was first told, that the paparazzi were chasing and the driver was drunk and shouldn't have been driving drunk, and he flew off and crashed the car. So,
Well, there's been a lot. I don't know if you remember a couple of dozen years ago, the paparazzi was responsible for a lot of injuries and so forth of famous people they were trying to get pictures of and whatnot. So I don't think that she was intentionally killed, personally. I do not.
yeah.
Now, the next one I do have questions about.
Ooh.
To you. And that's the old 9/11 was an inside job.
There's a big one.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying it was an inside job. The whole term inside job, that whole thing stemmed from Alex Jones, if you know who he was. He was a conspiracy theorist, still is, big podcaster, radio show called InfoWars.
Yep.
Yep, and he's been sued, and he claimed that Sandy Hook was an inside job and all this other stuff. I used to listen to him because when he first started out, he hit home on a few little points, and then he went kind of over the top. But when it comes to 9/11, and the theory is like, well, you know, the whole thing was very strange. I think most of us are old enough to have a very good adult memory on that incident. So there's a lot of strange things around 9/11. For the Pentagon, if you study that one out, it's like, what the freak happened to that aircraft that hit the Pentagon? There wasn't much debris on the field, whatever. But so there are all these things, and then to add fuel to the fire, the X-Files TV show predicted that on March of that year. I mean, just almost perfectly. Did you ever see that one? If you go back,
I don't remember if I saw the episode, but I remember hearing about the X-Files.
I mean, just really, I looked it up, and I think they've kind of squashed part of it because I had a hard time finding a video of the episode itself.
My parents were big fans of that show. They loved Scully.
Yeah, I was very much. And then even I think The Simpsons predicted. So there's like, okay, come on. Of course, I guess, you know, the World Trade Center towers, I'd been to the World Trade Center towers. I used to stand on the ground, looked up. It was a very dizzying experience, even from the ground. I was there just a couple of weeks before the first Trade Center bombings took place in the early 90s. Regardless of all that, there was a lot of things that really brought into question, and then our reaction to it added fuel to the fire. Okay. Now, how do I say that? Well, this took place by a handful of terrorists who killed themselves in the process of implementing this horrific event on 9/11. The time of day it took place was first thing in the morning. And there should have been like tens of thousands of people working in those two buildings, but there were only some 3,000 that got killed from that event. And that included the ones in DC and the ones that crashed the plane in Pennsylvania. Some of the offices, the employees just didn't go to work that day. There's a lot of strange things. I didn't dig real deep into it because I had my own issues with our response to it. I looked at it from the viewpoint of we took advantage of it. It gave us an opportunity to do what our government already wanted to do. And that was to go after Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with these bin Laden terrorists or anything to do with 9/11. So there you go. We can go on with that forever. There's a lot of information on the internet about that, and there's a lot of theories behind that. I don't think we knew. I think we could have known. For some reason, the information didn't flow between agencies. So it raised a lot of suspicion all the way through. So I'm not going to go on and on about that. That's been wore out over the years for sure. Do you have any comments about that one?
No comment. Oh, well, I was also just thinking about the photos they captured when the buildings were coming down. There's one that the smoke shaped into the face of the devil.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty eerie looking.
Well, and that you brought that up. The demolition part is like the buildings went down as if it were a planned demolition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they did.
Those structures, to think that airplanes could have brought those down, it's just strange. Okay, I don't have the answers, but it does raise questions. And clearly, like several other things in our history, we'll never know the real truth about a lot of this stuff. Plus, they cleared that site up real quick. It wasn't like they took much time investigating the site. It's like, let's get it cleaned up. So anyway, there you go. I got no answers.
I have a theory.
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, so you know, it goes back to the Bible thing. You know, the tower that they built that God knocked down because they were trying to get to the sky. Yes, thank you. And God was a little busy over on this other side of the world trying to fix some stuff over there. You know, there's kids without drinking water and all that. And so when he came back, he saw those towers. He made it happen. Let it happen. Maybe it was our sign. I've heard that one a lot.
I hadn't heard that before.
We can take it a little bit deeper than what she's saying there, because what happened? God didn't like high-rise buildings.
Right.
The Tower of Babel. Come on. I mean, you laugh now. God said, no, if I leave man alone, he can, no, I don't like high-rise buildings.
Well, it was more to the Tower of Babel than that, but
Oh no. You're cherry picking now. Okay, God. Christians. I can imagine what church you go to.
I go to a wonderful church.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
That's what they all say.
And then he kind of tried to let us prove ourselves and build ourselves back, to being loving people, because we became very loving at that moment, and caring that those people died.
Who are you talking about? We didn't become loving at all. We wanted to attack the Middle East. We wanted to kill this one. Wait, Muslims? Boy, if you've been a Muslim during that time, you think we became loving? Where is? Are you kidding? Are you? Yeah, sure. If he was a middle class white person that waved an American flag, oh yes, I love you. But if you were dark skinned, Middle Eastern or Muslim, come on. That's typical of a white person who's a
no.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish. We were supposed to prove that we were loving.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever.
Flown off subject into the windmills of Kelsey's mind.
My mind.
There's no way I lived through that. It's like, man, my next door neighbor was a Muslim. I mean, you think that we're all loving? Yeah, it's easy to say when you got that Christian look to you, and you look like you're not. You didn't have the Jesus look. The Middle Easterns had that Jesus look, Jeez, I can't. Yeah, you're a pretty smart girl too. Come out with that crap.
He totally missed what I was saying, but okay.
Yeah. We became all loving as long as you was white and wasn't no olive skin, whatever. And Muslims, kill them Muslims, kill them Muslims. Yeah, I remember well. I wasn't loving my ass.
Lord, he's turning.
I can't believe she said
We were,
that.
we were supposed to learn something from that.
Yeah, we did. We learned how to hate more.
Oh, Lord.
Vengeance is mine, saith the white man.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
God almighty.
Mine saith the Lord.
I was very much an adult when this stuff happened. I wasn't no child. I wasn't no 20-year-old, man. God. Yeah.
I was about 20.
Yeah, in your little Westover, Alabama world, yeah, that's all loving because you didn't have many Muslims hanging around your neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
It was a large fan we could turn on behind and blow that wig over on his head.
I'm just talking truth. Go look it up. I mean, I lived through this crap. I live in a big city. Y'all little country bumpkins down there. Oh, we waved the flag. And
No,
I love my brothers, but you ain't my brother. We invaded 2 countries. We killed 1 million people. I don't even want to hear that shit. We became loving. Bullshit.
All right. So, shall I do one now, or
wrap your loving arms around me?
Lord have mercy, shall I do one now?
Go for it, Kevin.
Where's my pentagram? Let me see how much they love me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, this one goes up to
Allah.
Alaska. What are we doing now? God, we're going to head up to Alaska with this story, going north to Alaska.
Oh, yeah, I know that story right there. Hard.
Yeah. The High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program.
And they ain't playing no sweet music either.
Or HARP.
Yeah, we're spying on them Muslims.
Here he goes again. HARP was initiated as an ionospheric research program jointly funded by the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, and the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. It was designed and built by BAE Advanced Technologies, and its original purpose was to analyze the ionosphere and investigate the potential for developing ionospheric enhancement technology for radio communications and surveillance.
That word was too big for you there.
Yeah, it's too big for me. Since 2015, it has been operated by the University of Alaska Fairbanks. The most prominent instrument at HARP is the Ionospheric Research Instrument, a high-power radio frequency transmitter facility operating in the high-frequency band. The IRI, as it's called, is used to temporarily excite a limited area of the ionosphere. Other instruments, such as VHF and UHF radar, a flux gate magnetometer, a digisonde, and an induction magnetometer are used to study the physical processes that occur in the excited region. Work on the HARP facility began in 1993. The current working IRI was completed in 2007. Its prime contractor was BAE Systems Advanced Technologies. As of 2008, HARP had incurred about $250 million in tax-funded construction and operating costs. In May 2014, it was announced that HARP program would be permanently shut down later in the year. After discussions between the parties, ownership of the facility and its equipment was transferred to the University of Alaska Fairbanks in 2015. HARP is a target of conspiracy theorists who claim that it is capable of weaponizing weather. Commentators and scientists say that advocates of this theory are uninformed, as claims made fall well outside the abilities of the facility, if not the scope of natural science. Well, let's take a look at some of these here conspiracies. What in the world? HARP is the subject of numerous conspiracy theories.
Harp,
Various,
strange. Oh, that's different.
various individuals have speculated about hidden motivations and capabilities of the project. For example, Rosalie Bertel warned in 1996 about the deployment of HARP as a military weapon. Michael Chazadovsky stated in a book published by the Committee of Monetary and Economic Reform that recent scientific evidence suggests that HARP is fully operational and has the capability of triggering floods, hurricanes, droughts, and earthquakes. Over time, HARP has been blamed for generating such catastrophes as well as thunderstorms in Iran, Pakistan, Haiti, Turkey, Greece, and the Philippines, and even major power outages, the downing of TWA Flight 800, Gulf War syndrome, and chronic fatigue syndrome. Allegations include the following. Number one, Nick Bajik Jr., the son of the late U.S. Representative Nick Bajik and brother of former U.S. Senator Mark Bajik, retiring Alaska State Senator Tom Bajik is the author of Angels Don't Play This Harp. He has claimed that the HARP facility could trigger earthquakes and turn the upper atmosphere into a giant lens so that the sky would literally appear to burn. He maintains a website that claims HARP is a mind control device. Number two, a Russian military journal wrote that ionospheric testing would trigger a cascade of electrons that could flip Earth's magnetic poles. Number three, the Alaska State Legislature and the European Parliament held hearings about HARP, the latter citing environmental concerns. Number four, former governor of Minnesota and documentary maker Jesse Ventura questioned whether the government is using the site to manipulate the weather or to bombard people with mind-controlling radio waves. An Air Force spokeswoman said Ventura made an official request to visit the research station but was rejected. He and his crew showed up at HARP anyway and were denied access. Number five, physicist Bernard Eastlund claimed that HARP includes technology based on his own patents that has the capability to modify weather and neutralize satellites. And number six, it has been proposed as a cause of low-frequency background hums said to be heard in various locales. I have heard about those weird phenomenon. Two Georgia men arrested on drug charges in November 2016 were reportedly plotting domestic terrorism based on conspiracy theories about HARP. The Coffee County Sheriff's Department said the men possessed a massive arsenal that included AR-15 rifles, Glock handguns, a Remington rifle, and thousands of rounds of ammunition. According to the police, the men wanted to destroy HARP because they believe the facility manipulates the weather, controls minds, and even traps the souls of people. Police say the men confessed that God told them to go and blow this machine up that kept souls so that the souls could be released. Stanford University professor Umran Inan told Popular Science that weather control conspiracy theories were completely uninformed, explaining that there's absolutely nothing we can do to disturb the Earth's systems. Even though the power HARP radiates is very large, it's minuscule compared with the power of a lightning flash, and there are 50 to 100 lightning flashes every second. HARP's intensity is very small. Computer scientist David Nadich characterizes HARP as a magnet for conspiracy theorists, saying that HARP attracts their attention because its purpose seems deeply mysterious to the scientifically uninformed. Journalist Sharon Weinberger called HARP the Moby Dick of conspiracy theories and said the popularity of conspiracy theories often foreshadows the benefits HARP may provide to the scientific community. Austin Baird, who wrote Alaska Dispatch, said, "What makes HARP susceptible to conspiracy criticism is simple. The facility does not open its doors in the same way as other federally funded research facilities around the country, and it does not go to great efforts to explain the importance of its research to the public. In 2016, in response to these claims, the University of Alaska Fairbanks Geophysical Institute, which manages the facility, announced that HARP will host an annual open house in August allowing visitors to tour the complex. So they opened their doors, and that probably didn't, but hopefully quieted down some of those conspiracies. Conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracies.
I'm slap tired. I can't even talk.
September. Are you through?
Yeah, I forgot to show the picture of the facility. There it is. I meant to put that up there.
I'd to see a bunch of antennae.
Yeah.
The date, September the 5th, 1982. Johnny Gosch, 12 years old, vanished from Des Moines, Iowa without a trace while on his morning newspaper run. With absolutely no evidence or leads, the case went cold and has remained unsolved to this day, but there have been a number of conspiracy theories about what happened to him. Some people believe that he was forced into a child sex ring that was operating in Nebraska. His mother, Noreen, received pictures of a man tied up in a basement, leading her to believe the theory was true, though the man in the picture could not be proven to be Gosch, and there was no other evidence to prove the theory. Interesting that, if you think in more recent times, do you remember Pizzagate?
Yep, I remember that.
There you go. The accusations and conspiracy theory was that there was a pizzeria in Washington that was a front for a pedophile sex child ring that was operated by Hillary Clinton and a few others. I don't know, but anyway, that one led up to a guy going to the pizzeria and actually shooting a gun at the building. No, it was never proven that there was a sex ring child operation running out of a pizzeria. No more than it's been proven that this Johnny Gosch was part of a child sex ring that had been kidnapped. In 1997, Noreen saw her now grown-up son, said her now grown-up son visited her with his captor. She said he told her he was all right and that he was still alive, igniting even more conspiracies that he was still alive, but police could not corroborate the mother's story. Finally, there's a conspiracy that White House reporter Jeff Gannon is Johnny Gosch because they share similar political characteristics. Of course, that theory also was never proven. But who knows? Maybe once the word got out that the Pizzagate thing was a real child sex ring being played out in the back of a pizzeria in Washington, D.C., run by the Clintons, maybe they brought some of the child sex victims into the White House. And one of them became Jeff Gannon, the White House reporter. I mean, we can take a conspiracy theory and expound on it, right? We don't have to leave a conspiracy theory alone. We can add to it. We can embellish it more, make it more interesting. What do you think?
Interesting.
I mean, why just end it there? It's like he never has been found, and some saying this White House reporters, this guy, and but the pizzeria was out in D.C., and it's got a White House connections, and wow, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe the White House, the upstairs at the White House, the president's quarters, maybe our entire government is nothing but a child sex ring thing.
Could be.
And you look at all these men in power, from teachers to coaches to Boy Scout leaders to church leaders to politicians, and they all having this pedophile thing going on. Our government is run by pedophiles from A to freaking Z. And President Trump and Bill Clinton had relationships with Epstein that child sexual molesting fool. I don't know. I think we're onto something, Kevin.
Oh yeah.
We got to write a book about this.
And to top it off, that round thing on top of the White House, that's actually a UFO.
Hey, I've heard that story before, and they got way back then. Remember the UFO that was spotted over the White House?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that one?
Uh-huh.
Do you really?
I believe so.
I mean, there's a video about
I used to read UFO books.
I think we're onto something. We're going to have to investigate. We got an upcoming book that Kevin and I are going to write together. We'll do like Stephen King did with that other author. He'll write one chapter, I'll write the next, then he'll write a chapter, then I'll write a chapter, and we'll just go on it like that.
Oh, look at that.
Aren't you excited about that?
Oh, boy.
Woohoo!
Yeah, speaking of that, I got a conspiracy theory here that kind of makes me chuckle, and I like this because this is about somebody who is with part of a group that everybody, well, most people in the world love. I don't know, a lot of them seem to, especially back in the day.
Seem to what?
But Paul McCartney's death conspiracy.
Oh, I know. You look at that picture. You got that picture of them walking across the street there?
Oh, I got it.
And Paul McCartney was barefoot.
Oh.
Look at it. You don't have the picture? You cannot talk about the Paul McCartney death conspiracy thing without showing that picture.
Okay, hold on a minute.
I got to go to great lengths to keep you and Catherine both straight.
Oh, shoot. You know what?
Dude, find the picture.
Conspiracy photo.
Abbey Road, them walking across the street. And why is Paul barefoot?
Oh, you mean that? Okay, wait a minute.
Abbey Road. That was part of the conspiracy theory. That one, because he's the only one barefoot.
It's what it was. I'm gonna pull the picture up. I got it here. Here we go. Here's a big one.
Let's show it.
All right. Well, I didn't know what this had anything to do with this death conspiracy, but let's.
Oh, you didn't? Because I'm up on this. See, you're just a wee little fat boy. I mean, little boy.
Well, I guess I can read what I got. Let me pull the picture up.
Show the picture.
And then I can read what I got, and then if it don't mention the bear, whoops.
That's not Paul McCartney. Did you start another conspiracy theory now?
I know. A second, I'm trying to get my computer to quit farting around
like
here.
Well, maybe her hair looks a little bit like Paul McCartney.
Oh.
So we got a new conspiracy theory. It just evolved right in front of your eyes that the Lady Di was actually Paul McCartney.
Here,
look, he's barefooted. See?
Okay, he's barefooted.
And then that same album, they played one of the songs backwards, and Paul is dead, Paul is dead, do you have that part of it?
Okay, well, if I can read it, then yeah, it's right here.
Well, what are you waiting on?
Oh, if you shut up. Paul McCartney.
Come on,
Paul McCartney is not dead. Until mid-2010 or 2019, he was still touring. In fact, and he probably still would be if the coronavirus pandemic had not canceled his gigs. He gives interviews. He has a website. He occasionally appears in the tabloids. Pretty good for a guy that some conspiracy theorists think died in 1966.
He did.
The Paul is dead conspiracy.
666. 666. He was victimized by a satanic group that needed a sacrifice.
Okay, there's a conspiracy that from the paramedic. Look it up, Kevin.
Well, let me finish reading. There might be some stuff here. The Paul is dead conspiracy goes something like this. On November 9th, 1966, Paul McCartney got into an argument with the other Beatles, stormed out of the studio, and was promptly decapitated in a car accident. To cover the whole thing, the band hired a look-alike and sound-alike. After going through all this trouble, though, The band then took great pains to drop clues in their album covers and lyrics to hint to the public that something was amiss. For example, here we go. On the cover of the Abbey Road album, all four
Yeah,
members
didn't want to
are
believe me. Huh?
photographed striding across a zebra crossing, but only McCartney is barefoot and out of step with the other three. This must mean something, right? Despite public denials by the band and many, many public appearances by McCartney, fans could not just let it be, and came together to look for more clues. Now, you said something about let me look up this paramedic thing. Let's see what it says, because I didn't know. Let's see.
Number nine.
Let's
While
see.
you're looking that up, I'm going to play this song.
Okay.
Because you play it backwards. And it says...
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that because every time I play some music on here, it bans us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I do see the part here. It says, where'd it go? It disappeared.
See, another conspiracy.
Here it is.
Another fucking conspiracy.
The supposed audio clues, they play I'm so tired backwards, and you get a recorded phrase that sounds kind of like Paul is dead, miss him, miss him. Slow down, strawberry fields forever, and you can hear John saying, I buried Paul.
Mm-hmm. See? Uh-huh.
And then I was trying to see if they had anything. Oh, perhaps one of the best known is their 68 track, Revolution Number 9, which if you play it backward, has one part that sounds a lot like a violent car crash, and a voice can be made out saying, he hit a pole, better get him to a surgeon.
It's just, that's not really Paul. The one that's out there now, he's too old to be Paul McCartney. Look at him. He's an old man.
Come on. Well, I'm still trying to find, where is this? Catherine said something about a paramedic. Here it is. Let's see. Well, I don't know if this is it. That's not good. Where'd it go? Here it is. No, that's not it.
Let it be, let it be.
Something about somebody observing paramedics from the rooftops.
I'll see if I can find it in a minute. Go on with the next one.
Okay, yeah.
That picture, he looks fake in that picture. His head's too big.
His head's oh, Lord.
That's a Photoshop picture.
I died about 10 years ago. This is just...
I thought I smelled something. No, I've seen pictures of Kevin, and Kevin wasn't that fat. Look at her face and it's fat. And I don't, Kevin back then, I don't think twerked. This Kevin now twerks.
Oh, the one time he just won't let it be, let it be.
It's good to go down in history about Kevin twerks.
Have we covered anything on the moon landing yet?
Oh, no, we hadn't, the old moon landing thing. That falls in line because I mentioned that on the Area 51 that they faked the moon landing at Area 51, but that's as close as I got to that conspiracy.
Yeah, it says NASA landed astronauts on the moon in 1969. By 1970, a bizarre conspiracy emerged that the moon landing never happened. The conspiracy was described in a 1976 self-published book, We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 Billion Swindle, and a 1978 movie, Capricorn 1. Even as late as 2001, there was a Fox documentary called Conspiracy Theory, Did We Land on the Moon?, that gave airtime to the claims that the whole Apollo moon landing probably was faked. And I'll say, because I was watching James Bond movies recently, there's a scene in the movie Diamonds Are Forever where Sean Connery's running from the bad guys in this weird building out in the desert, and he runs through a studio with a moon set, and these astronauts out there looking like they're acting like they're, there's no gravity or whatever. So there are plenty of debunkings of the various moon hoax claims, and then there's the issue of the hundreds of pounds of moon rocks that have been studied around the world and verified as being of extraterrestrial origin. How did NASA get the rocks if not during a moon landing? Why would scientists from around the globe willingly participate in the American Space Agency's hoax? Many astronauts have been offended by the implication that they faked their accomplishments. In 2002, when conspiracy theorist Bart Sibrel confronted Buzz Aldrin and called him a coward and a liar for faking the moon landings, the then 72-year-old punched Sibrel in the jaw. I saw that video. I thought that was pretty awesome. Don't mess with the elderly, because some of them can fight. But there's part of that. The director of The Shining, that original movie, The Shining, with Jack Nicholson, The Haunted Hotel. Stanley Kubrick filmed that. He directed that, and I think he directed before that some kind of documentary that had to do with the moon landings. And they say in the hotel in The Shining, if you look closely in the movie, the carpet pattern has these weird octagonal shapes, and they're saying it looks an awful lot like the bottom of a space shuttle, and that was Kubrick's way of subliminally telling everyone the moon landings were fake. So there's another piece of conspiracy.
Well, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories out there. Are you familiar with the Safeguard Complex in North Dakota?
Nope.
The Stanley R. Mickelson Safeguard Complex in North Dakota was built in the 1970s to detect incoming missiles. It's a $500 million project building and is shaped like an unfinished pyramid, much like the one you can see on the back of the dollar bill. It has a round circle on each face. Mysteriously, the building was opened and in operation for only one day. It opened October 1, 1975, and it closed October 2 of 1975 when Congress decided to end the program, which led to many constructing conspiracy theories about the Safeguard Complex. Some assume the building is actually used by the Illuminati because of its pyramid shape, which is a symbol of Freemasonry, the teachings of the largest secret society. But here's a conspiracy type theory that we all now on this channel can tune into, and it's about the some 2,032 Bigfoot sightings in the state of Washington. Ooh. 2,032, and this is going back a couple of years. There's a number of theories around this mythical creature. Some believe it's a ferocious beast meant to be feared, and others think it's a harmless creature that wants to be left alone. There are other theories that Bigfoot is related to humans since it walks on two legs, while others think it's an extraterrestrial being, probably brought to us on that UFO that sits on top of the White House. The original 1958 footprints were a prank by a man named Ray Wallace near Bluff Creek in Northern California, according to the Smithsonian. His children revealed it was all a joke after his death in 2002. So we've gone from Bigfoot to pyramid buildings that only opened $500 million, and they used it for one freaking day. Well, there's a conspiracy there. The money that's wasted by our government. What a conspiracy that is.
Oh, I got a theory. I bet Catherine will like this theory.
Probably so.
That's not the real Kelsey there. I actually killed him. And this is the real Kelsey's head. See how hard it is?
we removed the skull
Yeah.
and we placed a robot head in there, and we had to cover the hole with his wig.
I like my eyes, though. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Bigfoot.
If we could just speak out of our heads one night, that would be funny as heck. Just whatever
Speaking out
comes to our
of their head.
mind and our thoughts.
What?
Whatever
I wanna
comes,
Huh?
whatever comes into our head, just speak the thought.
Well, we're about okay.
Let the universe lead you and speak whatever thought it was. Get several more people.
Okay.
I mean, any
Okay.
subject. Start the subject off with something.
All right, so I want to back up a minute. Earlier, when Catherine was starting to say something, and she claimed that everybody fell in love with each other after 9/11, and I had a rant about Muslims, she was leading to another point, and I wanted to apologize and let her get to her point. So, Catherine, take off your hat so you can see your point.
Okay, I got to go back to my point to make sure I said it exactly the way I want it because I wrote it down, but it's like way up here. Should have told me.
Shit.
My point was God trying to see who was going to be good and loving, or who was going to go toward the hate and the killing.
Okay, so
Leave it at a question, not a statement.
So, in other words, the whole 9/11 thing was a God-imposed thing, like at the Tower of Babel, except it had to do with will we really love each other or love God or not.
Correct.
Yeah.
But no, we start babbling like idiots, just like we did at the Tower of Babel.
Tower of Babel.
Babel.
I think it depends on which pronunciation is where you live or whatever.
There were some people.
I wouldn't know because I don't wear Depends. But
There were some celebrities that changed their lives after September 11, saying that it gave them an awakening.
I had an awakening. It's like, man, this world's screwed up.
You got the negative awakening.
No, it wasn't no negative. It's just reality.
Yeah,
This is not good.
I got one here. It's interesting that even kind of ties into what we just went through the last couple of years here. And this is about chemtrails.
Oh, we broke chemtrails. I know all about chemtrails. Go ahead.
As airplanes travel, they leave behind them long water condensation trails called contrails. These cloud-like tracks dissipate quickly.
Very quickly.
To some conspiracy theorists, these condensation trails are much more nefarious.
Oh, no, there's a big difference. Big difference in a chemtrail and a contrail. I was a pilot. I used to pilot here and pilot there.
Oh, okay. The chemtrail conspiracy theory holds that condensation trails are full of other chemicals that scientists and governments are seeding into the atmosphere.
And it's been proven.
And you can pick your reason why. It might be biological warfare or population control, COVID-19.
It's climate control.
Geoengineering, or an attempt to manipulate the weather. Yeah, climate control. Researchers who study things like clouds' impact on global temperatures are often harassed by chemtrail believers who think that they are part of a large-scale conspiracy to secretly spray unknown chemicals into the atmosphere, according to Harvard University's David Keith. A 2016 study even debunked chemtrails scientifically, finding no evidence of unusual contrails or unexplained contamination in the environment, but the true believers will not be swayed.
See, you got a question. Who is doing this research?
Yeah.
Anyway, now the contrails, when you started out, they do dissipate quickly because it is moisture. You can see the patterns of these planes leaving these chemtrails. There's something else. It's not contrails, not condensation, because it lingers and spreads through the air. So anyway, I'm not going to go any further than that, except I used to fly a lot.
Yeah.
And,
It starts out narrow, then you notice later it gets wider and stretched.
right. And in fact, they do it on very clear days, and I know flight patterns and whatnot. And you can watch these planes going through these patterns, and it lingers and lingers. Now, I'm not saying they're doing anything nefarious. I don't know what they're doing, but there's even some people that have collected some of this stuff and claim they can tell you what's in the ingredients. I'm not sure about that, but I do know the difference between I do know a contrail versus whatever is happening here.
I've heard of crop dusters, but people dusters, it makes you wonder.
Well, I know one thing. Something made me lose my hair.
Maybe you went crazy over this crazy world and you yanked it out with your hands.
Well, we got a few more minutes, but you've not talked about any of your books or your hats or your bumper stickers or anything like that. I never even talked tonight about, guess what? I haven't even talked about my wishing machine. So I'm going to put that up.
His wishing machine.
Don't you wish you had a wishing machine?
I wish people would go to myhauntedolls.com and buy my books. I got tons of books out there, books about my haunted items, like the ones that we've been testing every Tuesday night with the spirit boxes. And then I got fiction. I've got a collection of short stories I wrote and just published.
And he's also got some long stories, not just short stories.
Yeah, I got some long story. Yeah, I got Crimson the Blood painting, a novel based on one of my haunted paintings. And I've even got some products out there, some caps like what I'm wearing right now.
The bumper sticker. Don't forget the bumper sticker.
Yeah, the bumper sticker, which is basically that same picture there. So yeah, go buy. And I've got coffee mugs with myhauntedolls.com on it. Nobody's buying any. Go out and buy.
You can go to datingthedead.com and you can learn all about these weird relationships people have with the dead. And to move on the last few minutes, I got a couple of little conspiracy theories that maybe aren't so little, but it is true conspiracy theories. You think that this is funny? If you go along the East Coast, not the East Coast, I'm sorry. There's a certain area, especially around Chicago. I don't know why I said East Coast, but all these mattress firm stores are all in this congested area, all just within a half a mile of each other, and some of them even across the street from each other. I mean, if you look at a map and you say, my God, I mean, what's going on with all these mattress stores? I mean, just right there, like right on top of each other. Well, it's some sort of giant money laundering scheme. I remember seeing 4 mattress firms all in one corner of an intersection, and there's no way there can be such a demand for mattresses. I don't guess. But anyway, and I don't think I covered this yet, but we had hit on Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. Did I cover that yet? No, I just teased about it.
But yeah, you teased it.
Yeah. So Truman Capote and Harper Lee both grew up in Alabama and were childhood friends. Did you know that?
Yep.
They each went on to become celebrated authors. Capote wrote his crime story In Cold Blood and Lee the great American novel To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, while Capote went on to write numerous books, Harper Lee only published one other book in her lifetime. And because of that, the conspiracy theory arose that actually it was Capote that wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. So in a 2010 documentary, Lee's sister Alice C. Lee denied the accusation, saying Capote had been jealous of her sister's success. So you take that for what it's worth. If you read those 2 books, if you read Capote's big book, In Cold Blood, and also read To Kill a Mockingbird, do you think that would have come from the same author, Kevin, or would that have been 2 different authors?
The same.
So there, you believe that Capote then wrote To Kill a Mockingbird?
Nah, I think I don't know, because it's strange. That's her only book until this surprise one came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
Something about a watchman.
Yeah.
But nah, I don't know. Maybe. And she's always been sort of she's gone dead now, but she was kind of standoffish and didn't like signing autographs. And
Yeah, Capote put himself out on Front Street.
yeah. So I don't know.
Well, one other before I've got one other short one here that I'll just kind of touch on. There's so many conspiracy theories over so many things that's happened, but we generally, when we talk about famous people getting shot, we
Tupoc.
JFK and that conspiracy, but also in 1968, April the 4th, Martin Luther King Jr., Memphis, Tennessee, at the Lorraine Home Hotel, was shot and killed. Civil rights leader died at the Memphis hospital at 39. And the killer, James Earl Ray, was caught and pleaded guilty a year later. However, many people, including King's own children, don't believe that Roy acted alone. Some believe the FBI or the Ku Klux Klan were involved in the assassination and believe Ray was framed. According to NPR, the U.S. Justice Department investigated the death on 3 separate occasions, and once they concluded that there may have been a wider conspiracy, but there's no hard evidence to support it. Now, remember, and it's not brought up in this article I'm getting my information from here, but his family actually, Martin Luther King's family, was actually involved in pushing the authorities to investigate because they were totally convinced that this Ray fella, in fact, they met with James Earl Ray. Some of, I believe, Martin Luther King's children met with Ray before he died. So that was another conspiracy theory. We got 3 minutes left. Kevin, you got one for us?
Let's see. I had one pulled up here. Let's see. Birds aren't real. This is a strange one.
Oh, yes. I can tell you all about that one, too.
When is a conspiracy not a conspiracy? When it's an elaborate piece of performance art, or does that make it even more of a conspiracy theory? The Birds Aren't Real conspiracy is a movement developed by Peter McIndoe, 23, who started spreading the idea in 2017. Mm-hmm. Until a December 2021 interview in the New York Times, McIndoe stayed in character as a true believer, insisting in media interviews and online that birds are not real, but rather they are surveillance drones made by the U.S. government. Birds Aren't Real has a staff. It has organized real-life protests. It bought real-life billboards, and it emblazoned vans with their claim. The goal, says McIndoe, is to parody the misinformation that Gen Z finds itself stewing in. Birds Aren't Real is not a shallow satire of conspiracies from the outside. It is from the deep inside, he told the New York Times. A lot of people in our generation feel the lunacy in all this, and Birds Aren't Real has been a way for people to process that. The experiment revealed that conspiracies sometimes grow by credulity. Local media sometimes reported on Birds Aren't Real as if it was something young people really believed rather than an elaborate joke. Birds Aren't Real organizers hope the joke will become a force for good by exposing all the ways misinformation thrives. Yes, we have been intentionally spreading misinformation for the past 4 years, but it's with a purpose, McIndoe said. It's about holding up a mirror to America in the internet age.
There you go. Birds aren't real. I think he was surprised how that caught on and became a kind of a cultural thing. They're saying that birds aren't real, that all those birds are spying on us, and it is a joke. No, he doesn't really believe that crap, and none of his followers believe that. But they sell T-shirts. He's got it on his vehicle, and they travel around, and it's really been a big movement. And I remember when I first heard about it, I didn't know it was fake. And I'm sitting there, I thought, are people really buying this crap? Yeah.
I see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now quitting time here. And I think
Quitting.
Kevin,
Oh, let me do the quitting whistle. Oh.
Kevin's about as tired as I am tonight. And what are we going to talk about next week?
I don't know. We could let's see. I don't know what happened. Let's see.
I started saying we could almost do another 2 hours on conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there's more out there. We never even touched on Elvis. Oh,
Thank you very much. I am Kevin. Thank you very much.
oh, there goes Catherine. She's good.
Catherine couldn't take it any longer. Well, we're going to shut it down, and we'll see you guys next week, 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Same place, same channel. Peace and love.
Yes.
Oh.